change does not feel like a revolution. It feels like a slow settling, like dust after a long journey finally falling to the ground. Early humans wake one morning and realize, without saying it out loud, that life is no longer only about making it through the day. The day itself has become something shaped, something owned. Morning arrives with familiarity now. Not just light and cold, but expectation. People know what must be done before they even move. Hands reach for tools automatically. Feet follow paths worn deep into the earth. The camp feels lived in, not temporary. This sense of place changes how the day unfolds from the very first breath. Work begins earlier, but feels less rushed. Tasks flow into one another. Someone tends the fire without being asked. Someone else prepares food while another checks tools. Children help naturally, slipping into roles they have practiced for years. No one announces instructions. The group moves as if guided by an invisible rhythm. This rhythm is the real achievement. Daily life now includes work that is not immediately necessary. A tool is improved even though the old one still works. A shelter is strengthened even though the weather is calm. Food is prepared with care, not desperation. These actions signal confidence in tomorrow. Confidence changes behavior deeply. People lift their heads more often. They look farther into the distance. Curiosity returns, but it is calmer now, less reckless. Exploration continues, but with preparation. Risk is weighed. Decisions are discussed. The group has learned patience. As the sun climbs, work spreads across the camp. The soundscape is familiar. Stone on stone, quiet voices, children laughing, the soft crackle of fire. These sounds are no longer signals of survival alone. They are signs of continuity. Midday brings rest, not collapse. People sit together. They eat slowly. Conversation flows. Stories are told not just of danger, but of skill, humor, memory. The past feels close, but not heavy. During these hours, early humans do something remarkable. They teach deliberately. An elder shows a child how to strike stone at the right angle. A hunter explains why a path curves instead of cutting straight through. A gatherer names plants carefully, repeating until the words stick. Teaching is no longer incidental. It is valued. This transforms the day into an investment. Afternoons are productive, but unhurried. Work resumes with purpose. People collaborate easily. Help is offered before it is asked for. There is trust now, built over countless shared days. Mistakes still happen. Tools break. Food spoils. Someone misjudges a decision. But blame is softer. Correction is calm. The group has learned that survival is stronger when shame does not poison cooperation. As the sun lowers, preparation for night begins early. Not out of fear, but habit. Firewood is stacked. Food is stored. Shelters are checked. The camp closes itself gently, like an eye preparing to sleep. Evenings are rich. People gather close. The fire is strong. Faces glow. Stories stretch longer now, weaving past, present, and imagined futures together. Children ask questions. Adults answer, sometimes truthfully, sometimes symbolically. Both serve a purpose. This is when identity solidifies. People know who they are in relation to others. They know what their group values. They know what is expected of them. These understandings guide behavior even when no one is watching. The night feels different too. Less threatening. Not safe, but familiar. Watches are kept, but tension is lower. Sleep comes easier. Dreams linger. Early humans now live in a world that has meaning layered into every hour. Morning is not just waking. It is beginning. Work is not just effort. It is contribution. Rest is not just recovery. It is connection. Their days are full, not because life is easy, but because it is understood. This way of living does not end hunger, danger, or loss, but it gives them tools beyond stone and fire. It gives them memory, cooperation, foresight, and shared purpose. These qualities will carry humans forward into new lands, new challenges, new forms of life. For now, the fire burns steadily. The group sleeps. Another day waits. And in that waiting, the quiet power of ordinary human days continues to shape the future, one sunrise at a time. Even as the group sleeps, life does not truly pause. The night is alive with sounds and movements that few notice, but all feel. Owls glide silently overhead. Small animals scuttle through underbrush. The wind whispers through trees. Somewhere in the distance, the low growl of a predator reminds the camp that danger never fully sleeps. Yet within the circle of firelight, humans have carved a fragile pocket of control, a place where warmth and smoke stand between life and the unknown. Morning comes gradually, not abruptly. The sky lightens, first with a pale glow, then with the full sweep of the sun. Early humans rise slowly, stretching stiff muscles, shaking off sleep and tension alike. Even this simple act is layered with awareness. The body remembers fatigue from yesterday's hunt. The mind recalls places where water ran low or where food was scarce. Every action is measured, honed by experience, and underpinned by instinct. Rising, walking, preparing, each movement is deliberate, even if it appears effortless to the casual eye. Breakfast is no longer just consumption. It is ritual and strategy entwined. Food is gathered from nearby sources, sorted, and sometimes shared before anyone eats. Children learn the rules of distribution. Elders oversee. Adults balance speed with caution, teaching the younger ones how to cut meat carefully, how to avoid tearing valuable sinew, how to store scraps without wasting a single bite. Even small mistakes are educational. and laughter often follows failure, a reminder that joy can coexist with the constant pressure of survival. Once the morning meal is over, the work of the day begins in earnest. Hunters leave the camp with precision, moving through familiar tracks with eyes and ears tuned to the subtlest signals. The group splits into specialized teams. Trackers follow footprints, sniff the wind, interpret broken twigs or disturbed grass. Hunters prepare weapons, checking spear tips, balancing slings, sharpening flint edges. Scouts move ahead to find water, safe paths, or signs of other groups. Even in these tasks, human behavior shows a remarkable evolution. Coordination, observation, and shared understanding allow them to anticipate movements not just of prey, but of one another. Meanwhile, back at the camp, those who remain continue a web of tasks equally important. Shelter maintenance is constant. Roofs are reinforced with extra branches. Stones are rearranged to block drafts. Fires are managed, coals kept alive for quick use. Tools are repaired or replicated. Children are instructed in these activities as well, slowly absorbing skills and routines that will be essential when they eventually travel with adults. Daily life here is rhythmic, work punctuated by observation, movement punctuated by reflection, labor punctuated by teaching. Every action has meaning beyond immediate utility. By midday, the sun has risen high, and the pace slows for a moment. People rest in the shade, observing. Memory becomes active during these pauses. They recall previous hunts in the same area, noting patterns. They think of the best paths through dense forest, the timing of when prey arrives at watering holes. These moments of reflection are as much work as hunting, because knowledge stored in memory, shared in stories, encoded in habit, is the currency of survival. The mind, in many ways, is as essential a tool as any spear or stone. After rest comes preparation. Early humans spend hours planning small tasks for the afternoon, coordinating teams, deciding which paths to scout next, which traps to check, which food sources to harvest. Communication is subtle, gestures, glances, quiet sounds. Words may exist, but they are sparse. Much of the understanding is shared intuitively, a silent choreography refined over years of repetition. Even mistakes in timing, misreading the wind, misjudging distance, teach lessons that refine behavior in future days. As the sun tilts toward evening, hunting becomes collective again. The group reunites, moving through terrain in careful formation. Prey is driven along paths planned days before, combining skill, observation, and an intimate understanding of the land. The hunt is exhausting and tense. Every misstep could cost energy. Every misjudgment could endanger the group. Yet when success comes, it is triumphant, not just for the meat brought back, but for the proof that cooperation, foresight, and accumulated knowledge are as vital as strength or speed. Returning to camp, the work continues. Meat is shared, stored, or prepared. Skins are cleaned and stretched. Bones are sharpened into tools. Sinew is preserved. Children help where they can, guided by patient hands. Elders watch carefully, making sure lessons are learned, but also allowing space for experimentation. Even the simplest task is layered with teaching, memory, and skill building. The day stretches, not in hours, but in density. Every moment carries purpose. Every action carries history. Every decision carries consequence. Night falls slowly. Fires are rekindled, smoke curling into the darkness. Stories grow long, winding through past hunts, remembered dangers, animals encountered, clever solutions, and failed experiments. Laughter mingles with cautionary tales. The children listen attentively, not only for entertainment, but for survival. They absorb lessons of skill, timing, observation, and social conduct, even as sleep begins to claim the youngest and the oldest. A quiet energy remains in the firelight, a pulse that binds the group together. By the end of the day, the camp is alive with more than the physical presence of humans. Memory, knowledge, culture, and emotion fill the spaces between stones and firelight. Tasks that seemed purely functional have evolved into rituals, teaching moments, and social glue. Curiosity, once a small impulse, has become a driver of innovation and understanding. Observation, once reactive, is now predictive. Cooperation, once necessary, is now habitual and valued. And yet, even with all this structure and wisdom, the future remains uncertain. Each day ends with the reminder that the world outside the firelight is untamed, full of predators, sudden storms, and shifting patterns of prey. Every day is a negotiation between control and unpredictability, between knowledge and instinct, between routine and innovation. This delicate balance, the constant weaving of survival, understanding, and adaptation, is the essence of early human life. It is what defines how they spend their days. Not merely existing, but living with intention, learning from the past, shaping the present, and preparing for the unknown that always waits beyond the horizon. The night is long, yet it is alive with quiet life. Even as early humans rest, the world moves around them. Wind rustles leaves, carrying distant scents. Small animals scurry unseen, and the low, almost imperceptible groans of predators echo across the landscape. Sleep is necessary, but it is not total. Ears twitch at sounds. Eyes flicker under lids. Instinct keeps one foot in awareness, one foot in dream. In this suspended state, survival continues to shape the rhythms of life, even in rest. Morning comes with soft light spilling across the camp. Dew clings to leaves, dampening paths. Early humans rise gradually, stretching stiff limbs and blinking against the sun. The first actions of the day are measured, almost ritualistic. Tending fires, checking the integrity of shelters, moving tools into readiness, ensuring that children and elders are safe. Every movement, though mundane, is layered with accumulated wisdom, honed through countless repetitions and countless mistakes. Life has become a dance of small, deliberate motions that together sustain the group. Breakfast begins quietly. Food is prepared with care. Roots are pounded. Meat is cut into even portions, and water is distributed thoughtfully. Even simple tasks are complex now, because each item has meaning. Tools for preparation are chosen based on efficiency and durability. Those who handle them know the weight of responsibility. Children are allowed small roles, but these roles teach more than they accomplish. They learn patience, precision, and the consequences of inattention. Every bite eaten reinforces lessons about observation, skill, and teamwork. Once the camp is nourished, the day unfolds in multiple, overlapping layers of activity. Hunters move out into the terrain with practiced stealth, their bodies calibrated to interpret every nuance of the landscape. Broken twigs, footprints, smells, the subtle shift in the wind. Scouts test water sources, noting flow, depth, and quality. Gatherers explore the edges of familiar grounds, seeking roots, berries, and medicinal plants, while constantly observing for predators and environmental changes. Every action is a mixture of instinct, learned knowledge, and deliberate experimentation. Back at the camp, work continues seamlessly. Tools are sharpened, shelters reinforced, and fire maintained. Each task has its rhythm. Stones are struck carefully to form edges. Sinews are measured and twisted. Animal hides are cleaned, stretched, and stored. The smallest details are attended to with care, because even minor errors can carry consequences that ripple through the day. For example, a poorly stretched hide might tear later, making a hunting weapon useless or a shelter vulnerable to wind and rain. Every action, no matter how ordinary, is linked to survival. Time during these daytime hours is experienced differently than it once was. There is awareness of sequence and consequence. Tasks are no longer isolated. They connect into patterns that span hours, days, and even weeks. People remember what was done yesterday, anticipate what will be needed tomorrow, and adjust their actions accordingly. This forward-thinking approach is subtle but transformative. It shapes the very structure of the day, creating a blend of work, teaching, and reflection. By midday, the group pauses briefly to rest and observe. Sitting in shade or near water, they share small observations. A new pattern in animal movement, a different sound carried on the wind, a change in the plants. These moments may appear leisurely, but they are deeply instructive. Each observation adds to the collective knowledge of the group, informing decisions for the next hunt the next journey, or the next season. Memory and foresight are now as important as physical strength or sharp tools. Afternoons are dedicated to experimentation and refinement. Tools are tested, sometimes failing spectacularly, sometimes exceeding expectations. Hunting methods are adjusted, new routes are tried, and shelters are reinforced in innovative ways. Even small innovations are celebrated because survival depends on adaptability. Children watch, absorb, and imitate. Adults guide, correct, and encourage. Daily life now includes deliberate instruction, shaping both immediate outcomes and the next generation's capacity to thrive. As the sun tilts westward, the rhythm shifts toward preparation for night. Fires are built higher, shelters checked for weaknesses, paths marked for quick movement in case of danger, and food stored securely. These routines have become habitual, almost instinctive, but their purpose is profound: to ensure continuity of life. Daily life, once dominated by immediate survival, now encompasses foresight, planning, and preservation. Evening brings the deepest human work: storytelling, reflection, and social connection. Around the fire, voices recount the day's successes and failures, blending instruction with entertainment. Tales of hunts, of clever maneuvers, of narrowly avoided dangers are narrated with vivid detail. Elders pass on knowledge accumulated over decades, reinforcing lessons through repetition, metaphor, and drama. Children internalize these stories, learning to navigate a complex world through narrative memory. Social cohesion strengthens with each shared tale, each laugh, each warning. As darkness deepens, the camp settles into a careful, quiet watchfulness. Sleep returns, but the night is never fully silent. Every sound is noted: a snapping branch, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of an animal. Dreams intermingle with reality, offering scenarios to practice in the mind, preparing for challenges that might come tomorrow. Survival, after all, is never passive. It extends through every moment, even those spent in rest. In part 12 of this ongoing story, daily life has reached a remarkable complexity. Early humans are no longer reacting only to immediate needs. They plan, reflect, teach, and innovate. Memory, foresight, and cooperation shape each day. Life is a delicate balance between routine and adaptation, action and reflection, work and teaching. And as these patterns solidify, a new kind of awareness begins to emerge, a consciousness of time, of legacy, and of possibilities beyond the immediate. Morning rises slowly, painting the sky with pale streaks of pink and gold, and the camp awakens with quiet deliberation. Each motion is intentional now, measured by knowledge accumulated over countless days. No longer is survival purely reactive. It is a dance of foresight, memory, and cooperation, where every movement carries purpose beyond the immediate. fire is tended first, coals carefully fanned into warmth. Water is drawn from nearby streams, measured and shared. Children begin their day with small tasks, collecting kindling, arranging tools, observing adults, not just to help, but to absorb lessons encoded into every routine. As the sun climbs higher, daily work stretches in overlapping patterns. Hunters leave the camp in small, coordinated groups, eyes scanning for tracks, ears tuned to the slightest rustle of leaves. Every step is calculated, every pause deliberate. Scouts and gatherers move along edges of known territory, seeking food, medicinal plants, and water, while simultaneously noting any signs of predators or rival groups. Communication is subtle glances, gestures, shifts in posture, but the group functions as a seamless organism, each individual aware of the other's intentions without a word. Back at the camp, the rhythm of daily life hums quietly. Tools are sharpened, hides stretched, fires stoked, and shelters reinforced. Each task is a thread in the larger tapestry of survival, connecting past, present, and future. Even mistakes are instructive. A snapped spear shaft becomes a lesson in material selection and technique. A poorly constructed shelter teaches about wind, rain, and balance. Knowledge is constantly reinforced through repetition, reflection, and discussion. Children watch, imitate, and sometimes fail spectacularly. But failure is instructive and often celebrated quietly, for it ensures understanding. By midday, the group pauses, not only to rest, but to observe. They watch animal patterns, note changes in the terrain, and reflect on previous decisions. Observations are shared. Patterns are recorded mentally, reinforced through storytelling and demonstration. Memory has become a living tool, guiding action, shaping strategy, and informing decision-making. Even the smallest insights, such as a new berry patch or the altered path of a herd, can carry the weight of life or death. Daily life now exists as a constant negotiation between immediate need and long-term strategy. The afternoons are a time for refinement and innovation. Tools are tested and adjusted, sometimes failing, sometimes improving. Hunting strategies are modified based on terrain, prey behavior, and lessons from past hunts. Shelters are reinforced or rearranged to optimize space, protection, and comfort. Humans begin experimenting not only with survival, but with efficiency, comfort, and mastery. They move beyond the instinctive into the deliberate. Small experiments, sharper spear points, lighter shelters, deeper traps become practice in problem solving, creativity, and foresight. Even as work continues, social life deepens. Cooperation is now ingrained, but it is refined further. Group members recognize the strengths and weaknesses of one another. Leadership emerges naturally, not as dominance, but through respect and trust. trust. The bold may guide hunts, the wise may mediate disputes, the skilled may instruct children. Roles are flexible yet recognized, and authority is earned through consistent skill, judgment, and reliability. Daily life has become an intricate choreography of human interaction, where survival and social cohesion are inseparable. As dusk approaches, attention turns to preparation for night. Fires are stoked high, shelters are checked, and food is stored carefully to prevent spoilage or theft. Every action carries layers of meaning. The night will bring rest, but also vigilance. Sleep is restorative, but never entirely unguarded. Awareness persists in subtle ways, like the hum of instinct. The group has learned to respect both the quiet and the danger of the dark. Nightfall brings the most profound human work: storytelling, memory sharing, and reflection. Around the fire, voices recount the day's experiences. Successful hunts, clever strategies, moments of risk, near disasters, and the small victories of skill and cooperation. Elders emphasize lessons learned. Children absorb not only practical knowledge, but also moral and social cues. Stories bind the group together, creating a shared sense of identity and continuity. Memory, imagination, and instruction converge, shaping both the present and the future. In these quiet hours, humans begin to grapple with concepts that transcend immediate survival. They think about their place in the world, the land they inhabit, and the lineage that stretches backward through generations. Actions gain significance beyond today. The care with which a tool is made, a story is told, or a child is instructed becomes an investment in continuity. Legacy, in its most primitive form, begins to emerge. The day ends, but its impact is cumulative. Every moment of labor, observation, teaching, and reflection carries forward. Daily life has transformed from raw survival into a complex rhythm of learning, experimentation, cooperation, and emotional awareness. Early humans are no longer merely reacting. They are anticipating, interpreting, and shaping the world around them. And as the night deepens, the group sleeps beneath the stars, carrying in their minds and hearts the understanding that each day is both a continuation of what has come before and a preparation for what lies ahead. The morning light spills over the horizon, washing the camp in soft gold and awakening a world that feels both familiar and alive with possibility. Early humans rise again, bodies conditioned to the rhythm of work and rest, minds now finely tuned to the patterns of the land and the behavior of those around them. There is a quiet understanding that each day is a gift, fragile yet filled with potential. The fire is tended first, coals coaxed into warmth, smoke curling into the crisp air, a silent signal that another day has begun. Breakfast is a deliberate act, performed with care and cooperation. Food is prepared efficiently, but with attention to detail, meat sliced evenly, roots pounded thoroughly, water carefully rationed and shared. Children take part, their small hands learning precision, patience, and responsibility. Teaching has become a constant undercurrent of daily life, woven seamlessly into the routine of labor. Every action is observed, every mistake noted, every success reinforced. In this way, knowledge is preserved and transmitted, building layers of understanding that span generations. The day stretches forward in overlapping cycles of work, observation, and learning. Hunters leave the camp with practiced stealth, moving in coordinated groups. Each step is informed by memory, each pause deliberate. Tracks, broken twigs, faint animal calls, every detail is noticed, interpreted, and shared. Scouts and gatherers work along the edges of the territory, collecting food and medicinal plants, while constantly observing the land for signs of danger or opportunity. This constant engagement with the environment has sharpened not only skill, but perception, transforming survival into a sophisticated understanding of the world. Back at the camp, the rhythm continues seamlessly. Tools are repaired or crafted anew. Shelters are maintained or strengthened. Fires are monitored. These tasks, while repetitive, are infused with purpose. Even the smallest adjustments, sharpening a spear tip, adjusting the placement of a shelter pole, carry significance for survival. Life is no longer simply reactive. It is intentional, guided by accumulated knowledge and shared wisdom. Mistakes still happen, but their lessons are absorbed quickly, reinforcing adaptability and resilience. By midday, the group pauses to rest, reflect, and share observations. They watch animal movements, track seasonal changes, and discuss new findings. These pauses, seemingly simple, are deeply instructive. Observation has become a form of work. Memory, foresight, and interpretation are tools as essential as any spear or blade. Early humans now navigate not just space, but time itself, considering the past and anticipating the future in every decision. Afternoons are a time of refinement and experimentation. Hunting strategies are tested and adjusted. Tools are improved. Shelters are reinforced with innovations inspired by observation and necessity. Children learn through imitation, experimentation, and gentle correction. Knowledge is cumulative, and teaching has become as central to daily life as hunting or gathering. Cooperation deepens as individuals recognize the strengths and weaknesses of their peers, and leadership emerges naturally through skill, wisdom, and trust. Daily life has transformed into a complex choreography of labor, learning, and social cohesion. As the sun begins its descent, preparation for night becomes paramount. Fires are stacked with fuel, shelters reinforced, and food stored securely. routines of nightfall are familiar and deliberate, a reflection of lessons learned through repeated experience. Sleep is approached cautiously, with vigilance maintained even in rest. Awareness of the dangers that lurk beyond the firelight ensures that survival remains a constant, guiding force in every decision. Night brings its own rituals, the most profound of which is storytelling. Around the fire, voices recount the day's events. Successful hunts, clever maneuvers, lessons learned, and narrowly avoided disasters. Elders instruct through narrative, reinforcing practical skills, while embedding moral and social understanding. Children absorb these lessons, internalizing both knowledge and the subtleties of behavior, cooperation, and observation. Stories are no longer mere entertainment. They are vessels of continuity, shaping the group's identity and strengthening social bonds. Even in sleep, the day's work continues within the mind. Dreams intermingle with memory, practice, and imagination, preparing individuals for challenges that may arise tomorrow. The fire burns low, casting flickering shadows that dance across faces marked by experience, shaping a shared consciousness that is as vital to survival as food or shelter. By the end of the day, the camp is alive not only with human presence, but with layers of memory, knowledge, and emotion. Survival has evolved into a sophisticated rhythm of labor, reflection, teaching, and social cohesion. Early humans now live in a world where every action carries meaning. Every observation informs future decisions, and every relationship is strengthened by shared experience. They have transformed their days from mere existence into living, breathing lessons in adaptation, intelligence, and human connection. The first light of dawn stretches slowly across the land, brushing the world with soft orange and gold. It falls on the camp in gentle streaks, illuminating worn faces, carefully tended shelters, and tools arranged with quiet precision. Early humans rise again, moving with a rhythm that has been honed over countless days, months, and years. Every motion is deliberate. Every glance is measured. There is an understanding now that life is not only about responding to immediate need, but about shaping the day itself, guiding it with intention and foresight. Breakfast is quiet but purposeful. Food is gathered and prepared with care, each bite a reminder of the labor, skill, and observation that went into its acquisition. Children participate, learning through practice the lessons their elders have quietly embedded in every routine. Hunting strategies are discussed subtly, routes planned, and tools checked. Observation has become as important as action. Patterns in animal behavior, the angle of the sun, the shifting of the wind, these small details are noticed, remembered, and interpreted, influencing decisions that ripple through every moment of the day. The group moves into the rhythm of daily life, which now feels simultaneously familiar and profound. Hunters slip through terrain with precision, tracking, predicting, and interpreting movements of prey. Scouts move along edges of territory, observing water sources, plant growth, and signs of other creatures. Gatherers collect food and materials with awareness that every choice, what to take, what to leave, where to move, has consequences that extend far beyond the present moment. Tasks overlap, strategies intertwine, and the group functions as a single, responsive entity, attuned to both the land and one another. Back at the camp, those who remain maintain the heartbeat of survival. Fires are tended, shelters reinforced, tools repaired or crafted anew. Every task carries layers of purpose: a sharpened spear, a stretched hide, a secured water source. Each is a small contribution to the ongoing project of life. Children imitate and learn. Elders instruct and correct. Mistakes happen, but they are absorbed quickly, teaching lessons without derailing the group. Daily life has become a blend of labor, teaching, reflection, and preparation, where each day carries the accumulated knowledge of countless days before. Midday brings pause and reflection. The group sits together, observing the land and discussing findings. Patterns in prey movement, shifts in weather, and subtle changes in terrain are shared and remembered. Memory and foresight have become tools as vital as muscle or weapon. Lessons are reinforced, strategies are adjusted, and decisions are refined. These moments are not idle. They are essential for the continued survival and growth of the group. Observation, reflection, and planning are work in themselves, shaping the present and future with the weight of experience. Afternoon tasks are layered with experimentation. Hunting strategies are tested and refined. Tools are adapted and improved. Shelters are adjusted to optimize comfort and safety. Even small innovations, like a more efficient way to carry water or a sharper edge for a spear, are celebrated because they enhance survival and efficiency. Children learn not just by watching, but by doing, guided by patient instruction and subtle correction. Cooperation deepens, trust strengthens, and social bonds are reinforced, making the group resilient in both body and mind. As the sun tilts toward evening, preparation for night becomes a priority. Fires are stoked, shelters checked, and food stored securely. These routines, repeated countless times, are both practical and symbolic. They mark the transition from activity to rest, from action to reflection. Sleep will come, but vigilance persists, carried quietly in every movement and every glance. Survival is never truly passive. It exists in thought, in planning, in the quiet attention that underlies every task. Night brings a different kind of work: storytelling, reflection, and social bonding. Around the fire, voices recount the day's events, weaving practical lessons with narratives of adventure, skill, caution, elders guide the young, embedding knowledge and moral understanding into tales that are both instructive and memorable. Children absorb lessons of observation, cooperation, and foresight, internalizing not only facts, but social norms and values. Stories reinforce identity, continuity, and the shared memory of the group. Even as sleep deepens, the influence of the day lingers. Dreams mix with memory, rehearsal, and imagination, allowing the mind to practice strategies, anticipate challenges, and process lessons learned. Fires burn low, shadows dance across faces, and the quiet pulse of life continues beneath the surface. Daily existence has evolved into a complex interplay of work, teaching, reflection, and social cohesion. Early humans have transformed survival into mastery. Life is no longer merely reacting to hunger, danger, or the elements. It is a constant negotiation between necessity and possibility, instinct and intellect, present action and future planning. Every day is filled with purpose, awareness, and connection, both to the land and to each other. And yet, even as this mastery deepens, something stirs quietly beneath the routines. A curiosity, a restlessness, a sense that life might hold possibilities beyond even the careful rhythms of hunting, gathering, teaching, and observing. The group begins to imagine, to anticipate, to question not only the world around them, but the way they live within it. The firelight seems to flicker with more than warmth. It flickers with thought, with potential, with the faint beginnings of ideas that will one day ripple far beyond this moment. Each day carries this tension, this delicate balance. The comfort of known routines intertwined with the spark of new discovery. And in that tension, early humans begin to push boundaries, not through force, but through observation, reflection, and subtle experimentation. Every hunt, every tool, every story becomes a thread in a larger tapestry of human understanding, slowly building toward innovations and possibilities they cannot yet fully comprehend. The night stretches on, stars glittering above, and the group sleeps cautiously, minds alive with both memory and imagination. The rhythm of daily life has matured into something extraordinary, a system where survival, learning, and foresight are inseparable. Yet, even with all this wisdom, the story does not end. The horizon waits, full of challenges, discoveries, and transformations that will continue to shape human life in ways early humans could only begin to sense. And so, the day closes, but the pulse of life, the quiet spark of curiosity, and the ongoing journey of early humans continue, leading naturally into the next chapter, where the extraordinary potential of human innovation and adaptation begins to unfold. Dawn breaks again, pale and fragile, spilling light over the familiar shapes of the camp. The world seems unchanged, yet everything feels subtly different to those who inhabit it. Early humans rise with the practiced rhythm of countless days, yet their movements carry a quiet, almost imperceptible confidence. There is a sense that survival, once the relentless driver of every action, has begun to share space with something more: curiosity, foresight, and the faint stirrings of imagination. Each action is deliberate, yet layered with reflection. Every decision, from where to hunt to which plants to gather, carries lessons learned and possibilities imagined. Breakfast unfolds with calm precision. Roots, berries, and meat are gathered and prepared, shared and consumed. Children participate, their small hands learning the intricacies of cutting, pounding, and observing. Elders watch patiently, correcting gently, and reinforcing the knowledge embedded in every gesture. The act of eating has become more than sustenance. It is a ritual that strengthens social bonds, teaches coordination, and reminds the group that life is not only about the immediate moment, but also about preparation for the future. Observation is constant, and even small details, like the angle of sunlight on the ground or the freshness of a plant, are noted, remembered, and used to guide decisions throughout the day. The morning flows into coordinated activity. Hunters move into the forest with practiced silence, reading the land like an open book. Every snapped twig, every disturbed leaf, every faint scent in the air tells a story, and the group interprets these signs collectively. Scouts travel the perimeter, noting water sources, shifts in animal behavior, and subtle changes in terrain. Gatherers follow, careful to preserve plants for future use, and to avoid signs that might reveal their paths to predators. Every member of the group is attuned not only to the world around them, but to one another, moving like parts of a living, breathing organism, each aware of the other's intentions and capabilities. Back at the camp, work continues seamlessly. Fires are managed, shelters reinforced, tools repaired, and hides prepared. Each task, though seemingly ordinary, is infused with purpose. A sharpened spear is more than a weapon. It is an investment in safety and success. A repaired shelter is more than protection. It is the result of observation, experience, and adaptation. Children watch carefully, imitate, and experiment, gradually absorbing lessons that will serve them for a lifetime. Every action, every moment of attention is part of a larger pattern that binds the group together and ensures continuity. By midday, the rhythm shifts to observation and reflection. Resting in the shade, the group watches animal movements, studies changes in plant growth, and compares notes on terrain and water sources. These pauses are instructive, providing the mental space to interpret patterns and refine strategies. Memory has become an active tool, shaping decisions and guiding action. The group no longer responds solely to immediate needs. Instead, it anticipates, plans, and adjusts, creating a subtle but profound mastery over time and circumstance. Afternoons are filled with experimentation. Tools are tested and adapted. Hunting strategies are modified based on past successes and failures. Shelters are strengthened or repositioned to maximize efficiency and comfort. Even small innovations, a better spearhead, a new method of carrying water, or a rearranged sleeping area carry significance, increasing the group's chances of survival while expanding the range of possibility. Children learn not only by observation, but by active engagement, gradually internalizing the logic, rhythm, and foresight that guide adult actions. Cooperation, trust, and shared responsibility deepen as these lessons accumulate. As the sun begins to descend, the camp shifts toward preparation for night. Fires are stoked, shelters checked, and food stored securely. The transition from activity to rest is deliberate, yet underscored with vigilance. Sleep is restorative, but never entirely passive. The mind and body remain subtly alert, sensitive to signs of danger. Awareness now stretches beyond immediate threats to include the lessons of the day, potential challenges of tomorrow, and reflections on patterns noticed over weeks or months. Survival has become intertwined with observation, memory, and foresight. Nightfall brings the most intimate and profound human work: storytelling, reflection, and social cohesion. Around the fire, voices recount the day's events. Hunts, clever maneuvers, narrowly avoided dangers, and lessons learned. Elders guide the young through narrative, embedding knowledge and values into the memory of listeners. Children absorb more than facts. They internalize patterns of thought, ethical understanding, and social norms. Stories are simultaneously practical and symbolic, creating a shared memory that binds the group and shapes identity. Even in sleep, the legacy of the day persists. Dreams mix with memory, rehearsal, and imagination. The mind practices strategies, anticipates challenges, and processes lessons learned. The fire flickers low, shadows dance across faces, and the quiet pulse of life continues. Early humans now exist in a delicate balance. Survival intertwined with innovation, routine intertwined with curiosity, observation intertwined with imagination. Yet even as the group masters this balance, a subtle restlessness begins to emerge. Actions, once automatic, are now accompanied by questions. What if there is a better way? Could the next tool be sharper, lighter, or more durable? Could the next path be faster or safer? These small stirrings are quiet, almost imperceptible, but they signal the beginnings of something transformative. A drive not only to survive, but to understand, to improve, and perhaps even to shape the world in ways that will echo far beyond the life of the camp. And so, as the stars wheel overhead and the fire burns low, early humans sleep cautiously, yet new spark within them, a spark of curiosity, a spark of foresight, a spark of imagination. Their days have become more than survival. They have become practice in understanding, shaping, and mastering both the present and the future. The first hints of dawn stretch across the horizon, thin streaks of pink and gold brushing over the sleeping camp. There is a quiet stillness, a pause in the rhythm of life that feels almost sacred. Yet within this calm, the pulse of awareness persists. Even in sleep, humans remain attuned to the world around them, ears listening for the faintest rustle, noses detecting shifts in the wind, bodies poised to respond. Instinct is woven seamlessly with the growing power of observation, creating a state where the mind and body are never fully at rest. As the sun climbs, the camp awakens once more. Movements are deliberate, stretching stiff muscles, coaxing coals into flame, drawing water, and distributing food. Breakfast is calm but intentional. Children practice tasks they have been learning for months, pounding roots, slicing meat, observing the adults with wide, attentive eyes. Elders correct gently, ensuring that each action becomes a lesson in skill, awareness, and patience. Every meal is more than sustenance. It is instruction, practice, and preparation. It reinforces the social bonds that make survival possible and nurtures the next generation in the art of living. With the morning fully underway, hunters and scouts move into the surrounding land with practiced stealth. Each footstep is measured, each glance and movement intentional. Signs that would escape an untrained eye, a broken branch, a faint footprint, a shift in the scent carried by the wind are carefully noted. Gatherers follow paths that balance risk with reward, seeking not just food but patterns. Where animals drink, which plants are ripening, where danger might emerge. Coordination is precise, yet subtle. A choreography built from experience, observation, and instinct. Back at the camp, the rhythm of life continues. Fires are tended, tools repaired, shelters reinforced, and food stored with meticulous care. Each action carries consequences beyond its immediate utility. A spear sharpened well today may save a life tomorrow. A shelter repaired thoroughly may protect the group from storms or predators. Children observe and participate, internalizing knowledge not as abstract instruction, but as lived experience. Even small failures, misplaced tools, cracked pots, unevenly stretched hides become lessons, reinforcing the importance of attention, precision, and learning from experience. By midday, the group pauses to rest and reflect. This is no idle leisure. Observations are shared, patterns are noted, and plans are adjusted. Memory and foresight have become as critical as strength or speed. The group analyzes animal movement, the timing of water sources, changes in vegetation, and the subtle signs of other creatures in the area. These insights inform decisions for the afternoon, tomorrow, and even the seasons ahead. Daily life is no longer simply about reacting. It is about anticipating, interpreting, and shaping outcomes. The afternoon brings refinement and innovation. Tools are tested and adjusted, sometimes failing, but always teaching. Hunting strategies are modified based on terrain, prey behavior, and past successes or failures. Shelters are strengthened or rearranged for greater efficiency and comfort. Every small innovation is celebrated, not as trivial, but as a step toward mastery over the world around them. Children are encouraged to experiment under careful guidance, building the cognitive and physical skills that will serve them throughout life. Social bonds strengthen as trust, cooperation, and mutual dependence deepen. As evening approaches, preparation for night begins. Fires are built higher, shelters checked, food stored carefully. These routines are repeated countless times, yet each iteration carries significance. Awareness of danger persists, mingled with reflection on the day's successes and challenges. Sleep is restorative, but never passive. Dreams become a space to rehearse strategies, solve problems, and envision the world beyond the immediate. Survival has expanded into foresight, innovation, and social cohesion. Nightfall arrives, bringing the most profound work of all: storytelling, reflection, and the weaving of collective memory. Around the fire, elders recount the day's events, blending practical lessons with narrative flair. Tales of hunts, clever solutions, narrowly avoided dangers, and shared victories embed both knowledge and values. Children listen intently, internalizing not only technique, but social understanding, cooperation, and the rhythms of observation. Stories now carry the weight of memory, shaping identity, preserving history, and connecting the past with the present and the future. Even as sleep takes hold, the influence of the day lingers. Dreams intertwine with memory and imagination, allowing the mind to practice skills, anticipate challenges, and process lessons. The fire flickers low, shadows stretch across the faces of the group, and a quiet energy persists, a pulse of awareness, curiosity, and potential. A subtle shift has begun within the group. Instinct and survival alone are no longer the sole guides of behavior. Curiosity stirs more strongly. Questions arise naturally. What if a new tool could make work easier? What if a path could be improved? What if the lessons of one day could shape the next in ways never tried before? These questions, small as they are, mark the beginnings of conscious innovation. And so, the cycle continues. Each day is a balance between survival and discovery, between routine and imagination, between action and reflection. Early humans now navigate not only the tangible world of food, danger, and shelter, but also the intangible world of ideas, strategy, and foresight. The firelight flickers over faces marked by experience, hinting at the spark that will one day illuminate even greater possibilities. Beyond the known trails, beyond the carefully maintained camp, lies a horizon waiting to be explored. A horizon that holds challenges, inventions, and discoveries that these humans cannot yet fully imagine, but which their daily life has quietly prepared them to face. And with that, the stage is set for the continuation of their story. A story where survival is no longer the only goal, and where imagination begins to shape the course of human life. Hey, today I will explain what early humans did all day. Let me know when and where are you watching this video from. Now, let's begin. The day does not begin with a clock. It begins with cold. Early humans wake not because they want to, but because the air tells them to. The fire from the night before has shrunk into a small red glow. Smoke hangs low, clinging to the ground and to their lungs. The sky is still dark, heavy, and quiet. Somewhere far away, an animal calls out, not loud, but enough to remind everyone that the world is already awake. People stir slowly. No one jumps up. No one rushes. Movement is careful, stiff, and silent. Bodies ache from sleeping on hard earth. Muscles complain. Fingers feel numb. A child shifts closer to a mother for warmth. An old man opens his eyes, but does not move yet. He listens first. Before anything else happens, they listen. They listen for danger, for footsteps that do not belong to their group, for breathing that is too deep, too close, for the sound of teeth clicking together in the dark. Silence is never empty. Silence is information. Someone feeds the fire. Dry grass, small sticks, maybe a piece of bark saved from yesterday. The fire wakes up slowly, like the people. Light spreads across faces. Shadows move on the cave wall or across the open camp. This light is safety. Without it, the day cannot start. This is how most days begin. Not with hunting, not with adventure, but with staying alive for another hour. Early humans do not think in terms of today's goals. They think in needs: hunger, thirst, warmth, safety. Everything else comes after. As the fire grows stronger, people sit up. They stretch. They rub their hands together. Someone coughs. Someone else spits into the dirt. A baby cries, sharp and sudden, and is quickly hushed. Noise attracts attention. Attention can kill. Food from the night before is checked. Bones picked clean. Bits of dried meat if they are lucky. Maybe some roots or berries wrapped in leaves. If there is food left, it is shared carefully. No one eats alone. Eating alone is dangerous. Eating together keeps the group together. Hunger is almost always present. It is a quiet companion that never leaves. Even after eating, it stays nearby, waiting. The sun slowly climbs. Light changes the land. Shapes become clearer. The camp becomes visible. Tools lie where they were dropped. sharp stones, wooden sticks hardened by fire, animal skins used as blankets. Everything has a purpose. Nothing is decoration. Children wake fully now. They move more freely than the adults. They play, but their play looks like work. They throw stones. They chase each other. They mimic adults without knowing it. Every game is practice. Every laugh hides a lesson. Adults begin to prepare for the day, but preparation does not mean planning far ahead. Early humans live close to the present moment. They remember the past, yes. They sense the future, yes. But the present is loud. It demands attention. Who will go out today? That depends on many things. Who is injured? Who is tired? Who is strong enough? Who knows the land best? Decisions are made with looks, gestures, and short sounds. Language exists, but it is simple. Much is understood without words. Some will stay. Some will leave. Those who stay do not rest. Staying does not mean doing nothing. Staying means guarding the fire, watching the children, repairing tools, scraping hides, gathering nearby plants. Staying is just as important as leaving. A group without a safe center does not survive long. Those who leave move slowly at first. They check the wind. They smell the air. They read the ground like a story written in dirt. A broken branch, a pressed footprint, droppings still warm. Every sign matters. Hunting, when it happens, is not constant excitement. It is long walking, long waiting, long silence. Hours pass with nothing happening at all. Feet hurt. Stomachs growl. Eyes scan the horizon again and again. Most days, hunting fails. So gathering matters more than many people imagine. Roots pulled from the ground. Nuts cracked open with stones. Berries tasted carefully because some will kill you. Knowledge is passed down quietly. This one is safe. That one is not. This one only in winter. That one never. This knowledge is survival. Forgetting it means death. Time moves strangely. Without clocks, the day stretches and bends. The sun tells them when it is time to turn back. Shadows grow longer. The air changes again. Evening approaches. Those who stayed behind see the returning figures first. They count them. 1, 2, 3. Everyone holds their breath until the last one appears. Relief comes silently. No cheers, just a shared exhale. If food was found, it is not celebrated loudly. It is handled carefully. Meat is cut with sharp stone flakes. Blood soaks into the dirt. Hands become slick and red. Flies gather fast. The smell is strong. Life has ended so another can continue. As darkness returns, the fire becomes the center again. Stories may be told, not for entertainment, but for memory. Who went where? What was seen? What must be remembered? These stories shape tomorrow. The day ends where it began, with fire, with shadows, with listening. But as the night deepens, something else stirs, something deeper than hunger. something beyond survival. And it is in these quiet moments that early humans begin to think, to imagine, and to change in ways they do not yet understand. Night is not rest. Night is a test. As the sun disappears, the world does not go quiet. It changes its voice. Sounds grow sharper. The crackle of fire becomes louder. Footsteps in the distance feel closer than they are. Every shadow seems alive, moving even when nothing moves. Early humans gather tighter now. Bodies lean toward the warmth. The fire is fed again and again, because if it dies, fear grows fast. Fire keeps animals away. Fire keeps the dark at a distance. Fire is not just heat, it is protection. Someone watches the edges of the camp, not standing, sitting, eyes half open, listening more than looking. Sleep comes in pieces. No one sleeps deeply for long. Deep sleep is dangerous. The world does not pause just because the sun is gone. Children drift off first. Their breathing slows. Their bodies relax. Adults allow this only because they are watching, always watching. This is when stories begin. They are not told every night, only when the fire is strong enough, only when the group feels safe enough. Stories are not entertainment like we know it. They are memory, warning, and teaching wrapped together. An older woman begins to speak. Her voice is low, almost part of the fire's sound. She does not look at anyone directly. She looks into the flames. Faces glow orange and red as she talks. She speaks of an animal that once came too close, of a man who ignored the signs, of how the ground shook when the beast charged. The story ends with silence. Everyone knows the ending already. The man did not return. These stories are not meant to scare. They are meant to remind. Children hear them even when half asleep. Their minds take them in. Tomorrow, when they see broken grass or smell something strange, they will remember without knowing why. Night is also when tools are made. Hands move slowly in the firelight. A stone is struck against another stone. The sound is sharp. Sparks fly. A piece breaks away, clean and sharp. This is good. This means the tool will cut. Tool making takes time. It takes patience. Fingers bleed often. But a good tool can mean the difference between eating and starving, between life and death. A man sharpens a spear point. He tests it against his thumb, careful not to cut too deep. He nods. Not perfect, but good enough. Perfect is rare. Good enough keeps you alive. Nearby, someone scrapes an animal hide. The smell is strong. The work is slow. Skin must be cleaned, stretched, dried. This will become clothing, bedding, shelter. Without it, cold will creep in and weaken the body. Night is when the body feels everything it ignored during the day. Cuts sting. Muscles ache. Bones complain. Someone massages their knee. Someone else adjusts their shoulder. Injuries heal slowly in this world. There is no doctor. There is no medicine as we know it. There is knowledge, though. Leaves chewed and pressed onto wounds. Mud packed into cuts. Heat applied to sore joints. Some of it works. Some of it does nothing. Some of it kills. They learn by watching who survives. Sometimes night brings visitors. Eyes reflect firelight from the dark. A pair, then another, wolves, hyenas. Sometimes something bigger. The group goes still. No one panics. Panic wastes energy. Panic makes noise. They feed the fire more. They lift spears. They make themselves look larger. Often the animals leave. They are hungry, but not foolish. Fire is strange. Fire bites. When danger passes, the tension does not vanish right away. Hearts beat fast for a long time. This is normal. Fear is part of life. It sharpens the senses. It keeps you alive. As the night deepens, thinking changes. During the day, thoughts are practical. Food, water, movement. At night, the mind wanders. Shapes in the fire look like animals, like faces, like things that do not exist. This is where imagination is born. Someone wonders why the sun disappears every day. Someone wonders where it goes. Someone wonders if it will ever not return. These questions are not spoken out loud. Not yet. But they sit in the mind. The stars are bright. Brighter than most people today can imagine. The sky is crowded with light. Lines appear between stars. Patterns form. Stories begin before words exist for them. Early humans do not know it. But this is the beginning of belief. Not religion as we know it. Not gods with names. But a feeling that the world is alive. That it watches. That it listens. That it remembers. This feeling shapes behavior. It encourages respect for animals, for fire, for land, for the dead. When someone dies, night changes. The fire burns longer. Voices grow softer. The body is treated carefully. There is sadness, but also acceptance. Death is not rare. It is expected, but it is never easy. They may place objects near the body. A tool, a stone, something familiar. Why? They do not know exactly. It just feels right, like a rule that does not need explanation. Eventually, exhaustion wins. People sleep in turns. One sleeps while another watches. Dreams come quickly and fade just as fast. Dreams are vivid, full of animals running, falling, flying. Dreams feel real, sometimes more real than the day. Morning will come again. It always does, until one day it does not. As the fire shrinks and the stars slowly fade, bodies curl inward. Breath fogs the air. The world holds still for a brief moment. And when the sky begins to lighten once more, early humans will rise again, not just to survive, but to shape their days with routines, roles, and unspoken rules that slowly turn survival into something more organized, something closer to a way of life. Morning returns, not as a gentle greeting, but as a slow pressure. Light creeps into the sky, turning black into deep blue, then gray. The cold bites again. Bodies stir. Someone coughs. Someone shifts their weight, trying to escape the damp ground. The fire is nearly gone. Just a few glowing pieces left, like tired eyes refusing to close. The group wakes in layers. First the watchers, whose sleep was light and broken. Then the adults, stiff and quiet. Then the children, who stretch, yawn, and forget the fear of night almost instantly. Another day has begun, but this day is not random. It is shaped by patterns that have formed over thousands of days before it. Early humans do not call them routines, but they live by them. These patterns decide who does what, when, and why. Some people are better at certain things. Everyone knows this. One person moves well through thick brush without making noise. Another can spot animals from far away. Someone else has hands that shape stone better than anyone. A woman remembers plants like a living map. An older man remembers mistakes, where danger waits, where food disappears in winter. These roles are not assigned with titles. They grow naturally. If you are good at something, you keep doing it. If you are bad at something, the group notices quickly. Mistakes cost lives. Children begin learning the moment they can walk. There is no school. Learning happens by watching, by copying, by being corrected, sometimes gently, sometimes sharply. A child picks up a stone and throws it. An adult watches. If the throw is bad, nothing is said. If the throw is good, a nod. That nod means more than praise. It means approval, belonging. The morning meal, if there is one, is small. Enough to quiet hunger, not enough to satisfy it. Saving food is always wise. No one knows what the day will bring. Then the group divides again. Those who leave today do not always hunt. Often they scout. They walk the land, learning its moods. Has the river dropped? Are the animals moving north? Are the berries early this year? Information is as valuable as meat. Walking takes up much of the day. Long, steady movement. Feet know the ground. They know where it is soft, where it cuts, where it hides danger. Shoes do not exist. Every step is felt. Blisters are common. So are calluses. Pain becomes background noise. Conversation while walking is rare. Sound travels far. Silence keeps you alive. Time passes slowly. The sun climbs. Sweat forms. Thirst grows. Water sources are checked, smelled, sometimes tasted carefully. Bad water can kill just as easily as a predator. Meanwhile, back at the camp, the day is just as full. Those who stay work constantly. Tools are repaired. Handles are replaced. Sharp edges are tested. A broken tool is not thrown away. Stone is precious. Wood is precious. Everything is reused until it cannot be used anymore. Children help, even when they slow things down. Teaching patience is part of survival. A child who knows how to scrape a hide today may feed the group tomorrow. Social bonds are strengthened during these quiet hours. People sit close. They share small looks, gestures, touches. Conflict exists, but it is managed carefully. Fighting within the group is dangerous. Injuries weaken everyone. When conflict happens, it is usually about food, effort, or fairness. Who ate more, who worked less, who took a risk and failed. Voices may rise briefly. Then someone older intervenes, not with force, but with authority built over time. Respect matters more than strength. As the sun reaches its highest point, heat becomes heavy. Movement slows. Shade is sought. This is not laziness. It is efficiency. Wasting energy is foolish. During this pause, something important happens. Observation. People watch animals from a distance. How they move, when they rest, when they flee. Patterns are noticed. Knowledge grows quietly. This is also when minds wander again. Someone notices how ants work together. Someone notices birds following larger animals. These observations plant ideas. Cooperation, tracking, strategy. Early humans are not simple. They are deeply observant. By afternoon, those who left return. Sometimes with food, sometimes empty-handed, sometimes injured. Each return changes the mood of the camp. If someone is hurt, work stops. Attention shifts. A wound is cleaned. A bone is checked. Survival becomes collective again. If food arrives, it is processed immediately. Meat cannot wait. Flies arrive fast. Rot arrives faster. Sharing follows rules that are rarely spoken, but always understood. The hunters do not take everything. The young and old are fed. This is not kindness. This is survival. A weak group does not last. As the sun begins to lower, tasks shift again. Wood is gathered. Water is collected. The fire is prepared. Everything points toward night. The day ends not with accomplishment, but with continuation. Another cycle complete. Another set of small victories. But beneath these routines, something bigger is forming. The idea of time. The idea of past and future. The idea that life can be more than reacting. And as these ideas grow quietly inside early human minds, they will soon begin to change, not just how days are lived, as days repeat. Something subtle begins to happen inside the minds of early humans. Survival is no longer just reaction. It becomes anticipation. The world starts to feel predictable in small ways. The sun rises. The sun sets. Animals move along familiar paths. Seasons return again and again. Patterns settle into memory, and memory begins to shape behavior. This is where thinking deepens. Early humans spend many hours not moving much at all. Sitting, watching, waiting. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. But inside their minds, the world is being organized. Sounds are sorted. Smells are categorized. Places are remembered. The land is no longer just space. becomes a map filled with meaning. That hill is dangerous. That river dries in summer. That tree means fruit soon. That cave means shelter when storms arrive. Memory is everything. People begin to remember not just what happened, but when it happened. Not in numbers, but in feelings. Cold times, wet times, hungry times, times of plenty. Time starts to stretch beyond the present moment. The past begins to inform the future. This changes daily life quietly, but deeply. Someone refuses to hunt in a place where an animal once attacked. Someone insists on leaving camp earlier because the sky smells like rain. Someone warns the group that food will soon disappear because it always does at this point in the year. These warnings are not always believed. Sometimes they are ignored. When disaster follows, memory strengthens. When survival follows, trust grows. Trust becomes a powerful force. Certain individuals are listened to more closely, not because they are strongest, but because they remember best. Experience becomes authority. Age gains value. Elders are not just mouths to feed. They are libraries walking slowly through the camp. During long pauses in the day, early humans also begin to think about each other in new ways. Relationships deepen. Bonds form that go beyond immediate usefulness. People notice absence. They feel loss before it happens. They worry. A man looks at a child and imagines the child grown. A woman looks at an aging companion and wonders how long they will last. These thoughts bring fear, but also care. Protection increases. Teaching becomes more patient. This is the slow birth of responsibility. With responsibility comes rules. Not written, not spoken clearly, but felt. Do not take more than you need. Do not abandon the injured. Do not threaten the group. Break these rules and something changes. You may not be attacked. You may not be punished directly, but looks shift. Help becomes slower. Distance grows. Exile is worse than death. Being alone in this world means almost certain death. Everyone knows it. That knowledge shapes behavior more strongly than violence ever could. As thinking grows more complex, so does emotion. Early humans feel joy, not just relief. They feel sadness, not just loss. They feel fear not only of danger, but of the unknown. The night sky plays a role here. During long evenings, people stare upward. The stars feel fixed, eternal. They do not move like animals. They do not die like people. This creates questions that have no answers. Why is the sky different from the ground? Why do lights live there? Why does everything below change, but not above? No one explains, but ideas form anyway. Some believe the sky is watching. Some feel it protects. Some fear it judges. These feelings influence behavior. Respect for the land grows. Careful treatment of animals becomes common. Waste feels wrong, even if no one can explain why. This sense of meaning does not come from logic, comes from pattern and emotion blending together. Even death begins to change. Bodies are no longer just removed. They are handled with intention. The group gathers. Silence stretches longer. There is an understanding that something important has ended. Grief is shared. Sharing grief strengthens bonds. It reminds everyone that survival is not individual. It is collective. During the day, this emotional depth shows itself in small ways. A hand rests on another's shoulder. Food is offered without being asked. Someone slows their pace to match another's limp. These moments cost energy, but they build trust, and trust builds survival. Children absorb all of this without being taught directly. They see how adults behave. They copy tones, gestures, pauses. They learn when to speak and when to stay quiet. They learn who matters and why. Play becomes more structured. Games imitate real life more clearly now. Hunting games, tracking games, pretend danger, pretend rescue. The line between play and preparation disappears. As the sun sets again, the camp feels different than it once did. Not safer, not easier, but more connected. The group feels like something larger than individuals sharing space. They feel like a unit. This unity allows for something new: planning. Not detailed plans, not years ahead, but simple ones. Tomorrow we go there. Next cold time we move. When the rains come, we shelter. These thoughts change how early humans spend their days. Less wandering, more intention. Less reacting, more choosing. And with choosing comes risk. Because once you believe you can shape tomorrow, failure hurts more. Mistakes feel heavier. Loss feels personal. The world is no longer just happening to them. They are part of it. This mental shift is quiet, slow, and invisible. But it is one of the most important changes in human history. Because once early humans begin to think this way, their days are no longer only about survival. They become about meaning, and that search for meaning will soon push them to experiment, to change their tools, their shelters, and even their relationship with nature itself. As thinking changes, hands begin to change as well. The body follows the mind. What early humans do all day slowly shifts from pure reaction to deliberate action. The land is still dangerous. Hunger is still real. But now there is intention behind movement. Shelter becomes more than a place to sleep. At first, caves and overhangs were enough. They blocked wind and rain. They hid firelight. But as groups grow familiar with certain places, they begin to modify them. Stones are stacked to block drafts. Branches are leaned against rock walls. Animal skins are stretched and tied to create barriers. These changes take hours, sometimes days. Time invested in a place means commitment. This is new. Spending time improving a shelter means believing you will return. It means trusting the land. It means choosing stability over constant movement. Daily life begins to include maintenance, checking walls, fixing gaps, replacing broken supports. These tasks are not exciting, but they matter. A shelter that fails during a storm can kill as surely as a predator. People learn quickly which materials last and which do not, which woods rot, which stones hold, which hides tear when wet. Knowledge deepens through trial and error. Fire, too, becomes more controlled. At first, fire is fragile. It must be guarded constantly. If it dies, it may be gone for days. Later, early humans learned to carry it. Embers wrapped in bark, slow-burning materials protected from wind. This changes everything. Fire can now be taken to new places. Nights become safer. Cold becomes manageable. Cooking becomes reliable. Cooking changes the day more than most realize. Cooked food is easier to chew, easier to digest. It provides more energy. This means less time chewing, less time sick, more time awake and alert. More time leads to more thinking, more talking, more experimenting. People begin to notice that certain foods taste better cooked, that some dangerous plants become safe after heat. That meat lasts longer when dried near fire. Food preservation begins, slowly and imperfectly. Daily tasks now include preparing food not just for now, but for later. This creates new roles. Someone tends drying meat. Someone watches cooking stones. Someone experiments with timing. Too long and food burns. Too short and it stays tough or dangerous. Mistakes are common. Smoke fills lungs. Food is ruined. But learning happens quickly when hunger is always near. Tools also evolve. Stone tools become more specialized. Not just sharp, but shaped. Different edges for different jobs. Scraping, cutting, piercing, grinding. A tool is no longer just a stone. It is an idea turned into an object. Making these tools takes time, planning, skill. The best toolmakers become valuable. Their hands move with confidence. Their strikes are precise. Others watch closely. Teaching happens through demonstration. No lectures, no explanations, just showing, over and over, until the movement lives in the learner's body. This investment in skill changes daily schedules. People sit longer, focus longer. Work becomes quieter, more concentrated. Hunting techniques change too. Instead of charging blindly, people plan. They drive animals toward traps. They use terrain. They coordinate movement. This requires communication, gestures, eye contact, trust. A hunt now involves waiting, long waiting, hours spent hidden, unmoving. Muscles tremble, insects bite, thirst grows, but when it works, it feeds many. After a successful hunt, work explodes. Skinning, cutting, cleaning, drying, everyone helps. Children carry small pieces. Elders oversee. Nothing is wasted. Bones become tools. Fat becomes fuel. Sinew becomes thread. These days are exhausting, but satisfying. The camp smells of meat and smoke. Bellies are fuller. Spirits lift. Between big moments, daily life continues. Water is fetched again and again. Wood is gathered constantly. Tools break and must be replaced. Injuries slow some down. Others compensate. The rhythm of the day becomes familiar. Morning work, midday pause, afternoon effort, evening preparation. With familiarity comes comfort, not safety, but confidence. People begin to decorate objects, not often, not extravagantly. A scratch pattern on a tool handle, a mark on a stone, a symbol that means something only to the maker. This is not art for beauty. It is identity. I made this. This is mine. This came from my hands. These marks also help memory. Which tool belongs to whom? Which object is important? Which has history? Objects begin to carry stories. A spear used in a great hunt is treated differently. A stone passed down from an elder is valued. The past begins to live inside things. As evening comes, the camp feels more established than before, more shaped, more human. But with stability comes new challenges. Staying in one place means dealing with waste, with pests, with conflict, with boredom. Yes, boredom. When survival becomes more predictable, the mind searches for stimulation. Stories grow longer. Games grow more complex. Curiosity sharpens. And curiosity is dangerous, because curiosity leads to experimentation, to pushing limits, to leaving known paths. Soon, early humans will begin to test their world in ways that bring both great rewards and serious risks. Curiosity does not arrive suddenly. It seeps in quietly, filling the empty spaces between tasks. When survival takes less effort than before, the mind begins to wander further. Early humans start to ask questions, not just about how to survive, but about what else is possible. These questions shape how they spend their days, even when they do not realize it. People begin to explore beyond familiar paths. Not far at first, just a little farther than yesterday. A new bend in the river, a hill not climbed before, a forest edge that once felt too risky. Exploration becomes part of daily life, woven into hunting, gathering, and scouting. Each step into the unknown carries tension. Muscles stay tight, senses stay sharp, but excitement grows alongside fear. These explorations bring new resources, different stones, harder or sharper than the ones near camp. New plants, some useful, some deadly. Animals that behave differently, that require new strategies. Knowledge expands, but so does danger. Mistakes happen. Someone eats the wrong plant and becomes sick. Someone steps into unstable ground and is injured. The group learns quickly, because learning slowly costs lives. With new places come new boundaries. Early humans begin to recognize territory, not in lines or maps, but in feeling. This land feeds us. That land belongs to others. Crossing into unfamiliar territory brings tension, sometimes silence, sometimes conflict. Encounters with other groups are rare but powerful. When they happen, time seems to slow. Everyone watches hands, posture, eyes. Weapons are held but not raised. Communication is cautious. Gestures, sounds, shared understanding that violence benefits no one, but might still come. These encounters change daily behavior. People become more alert. Camps are placed more carefully. Lookouts are more common. Fire is hidden better at night. The world feels bigger, but also more crowded. Not everything belongs to you anymore. Inside the group, curiosity also changes social life. People begin to experiment with cooperation. Two people working together on a task notice it goes faster. Three people hunting in a coordinated way succeed more often. Roles become more flexible. A toolmaker may hunt one day. A hunter may gather another day. Skills overlap. Knowledge spreads. Teaching becomes more intentional. Not just showing, but correcting. Slowing down to guide hands. Repeating movements. This costs time, but builds strength in the group. A group where many know many skills is harder to break. Children benefit the most. They grow up surrounded by information, not just survival, but adaptation. They learn that the world can be changed, not just endured. They see adults experiment and adjust. This shapes their thinking deeply. Curiosity also pushes early humans to play more with materials. Stones are struck not just to make tools, but to see what happens. Wood is bent, twisted, burned. Clay is pressed and dried. Most experiments fail. Some succeed in small ways. A sharper edge, a stronger handle, a better grip. These small improvements add up. Days begin to include moments of focused experimentation. Someone works on a tool long after it is usable, trying to make it better. Someone tests a new hunting path. Someone combines two ideas that were never combined before. Not everyone approves. Some prefer what is known. Change feels risky. Arguments happen. Voices rise. But when a new idea works, resistance fades. Success has weight. Even failure teaches. A broken tool shows weakness. A failed hunt reveals flaws in strategy. Memory absorbs everything. As the environment becomes more familiar, early humans begin to manipulate it. Small fires are set to clear brush. Paths are trampled into existence. Trees are cut selectively. The land begins to show signs of long-term presence. This changes the rhythm of the day. Work is no longer only about reacting to nature, but shaping it. Clearing space, managing resources, protecting valuable areas. With control comes responsibility. Overusing an area leads to scarcity. Early humans notice this quickly. Animals disappear. Plants stop returning. The group is forced to move or starve. This leads to an understanding of balance. Take too much, and the land punishes you. Take too little, and you suffer anyway. Daily decisions now include restraint. Evening conversations reflect this growing awareness. Stories include lessons about greed, patience, respect. These stories guide behavior more effectively than rules. Curiosity also deepens emotional life. People begin to notice differences between individuals more clearly. Personality matters. Some are bold, some cautious, some thoughtful. These traits influence daily tasks. Leaders emerge, not permanently, but in moments. Someone leads a hunt. Someone leads a move. Leadership is situational. This fluid leadership keeps the group adaptable. As days pass, early humans feel both empowered and vulnerable. They can shape their world more than before, but the world still pushes back. Every improvement introduces new risks. Every solution creates new problems. Life feels fuller, more complex, and as complexity grows, early humans begin to face a challenge they have never faced before. How to manage growth, memory, and identity over long periods of time. How to stay connected as groups expand, as knowledge accumulates, as the past stretches further behind them. This challenge will quietly transform how days are structured, how people relate to one another, and how human life begins to move beyond small bands into something much larger as time passes. Groups do not stay small forever. Children grow. Babies survive more often. Elders live longer because knowledge protects them. Slowly, almost without noticing, early human groups begin to expand. What was once a tight circle around a fire becomes a wider one. More voices, more bodies, more needs. And with this growth, daily life changes again in ways that are not always comfortable. Morning now begins with more noise, more movement, more confusion. Children trip over tools. People wake each other accidentally. Space feels tighter. The fire must be larger. Food disappears faster. A single hunt no longer feeds everyone easily. What once felt balanced now feels strained. This forces new decisions. Groups begin to split tasks more clearly, not because they want to, but because they must. Too many people doing the same thing wastes time. Too many voices slow decisions. Structure emerges quietly. Certain people handle food. Certain people focus on tools. Certain people watch children. These roles are still flexible, but they are more expected. Daily life becomes more scheduled, even without timekeeping. People know when things should happen, when to leave, when to return, when to rest, when to prepare for night. Deviating from this rhythm causes tension. With more people comes more disagreement. Conflict becomes harder to ignore. Personal dislikes form. Jealousy appears. Someone feels they work more than others. Someone feels overlooked. Someone feels threatened by another's skill or influence. These emotions change how days feel. Work carries tension. Conversations grow sharp. Silence can mean anger, not just caution. To survive this, early humans develop ways to release pressure. Talking becomes more important. Storytelling grows longer. Humor appears. Teasing, mock fights. Laughter breaks tension and restores balance. A group that laughs together survives longer. Shared rituals begin to form. Not formal ceremonies, but repeated actions. A certain way of starting the fire. A shared meal at the same time each day. A gesture before a hunt. These actions create unity. They remind everyone that they belong to something larger than themselves. Belonging becomes critical. As groups grow, memory alone is no longer enough. Knowledge becomes too large to hold inside one person. No one remembers everything now. Instead, knowledge spreads across the group. One person knows animals. Another knows plants. Another remembers roots. Another remembers stories of danger. This shared knowledge requires communication. Teaching becomes constant. Repetition becomes normal. Children hear the same warnings again and again. Adults remind each other of lessons already learned. Forgetting becomes dangerous. Daily life now includes constant correction. Do not go there. Not like that. Wait, watch, listen. Mistakes still happen, but fewer are fatal. The group absorbs shock better than before. Loss hurts, but does not always destroy. As numbers increase, camps change shape. Shelters spread out. Fires multiply. Paths form between spaces. The camp becomes a place, not just a stop. Certain areas are for sleeping. Certain areas for working. Certain areas for waste. Organization appears without being planned. This organization changes behavior. People move with purpose. Children learn where they are allowed and where they are not. Boundaries form, invisible but firm. Territory becomes more important. A larger group needs more resources. Hunting grounds must be defended. Water sources guarded. Encounters with other groups become more serious. Competition increases. Sometimes groups merge. Sometimes they trade. Sometimes they fight. These encounters shape daily thinking. Weapons are improved. Lookouts become routine. Night watches are stricter. Camps are chosen for defense as much as comfort. Fear returns in new forms. Not just fear of animals, but fear of others like you. At the same time, cooperation expands. Trade appears in simple ways. A good stone for a good hide. Knowledge for safety. Alliances form. Marriages between groups occur. People move from one group to another. This movement spreads ideas, techniques, stories, beliefs. Daily life now includes strangers. New faces around the fire. Different habits. Different ways of doing things. Adjustment is slow. Trust takes time, but diversity strengthens survival. Children growing up in this environment see a wider world. They learn that life is not just one camp, one way. This makes them more adaptable, more curious, more capable of change. As complexity increases, leadership becomes more visible. Not rulers, but coordinators. People who speak well. People who calm conflict. People who decide when to move and when to stay. Their influence shapes daily life strongly. But leadership is fragile. Abuse it and trust breaks. A broken group does not survive. So leaders listen. They consult elders. They watch reactions. Authority is earned daily, not claimed forever. As evenings fall, the firelight reveals a different scene than before. More faces, more stories, more history carried in memory. The night feels fuller, louder, more alive. Yet something is lost too. The quiet simplicity of smaller groups. The ease of knowing everyone deeply. Nostalgia appears, even if there is no word for it. Some long for the old ways. Some embrace the new. This tension drives change forward. Because as groups grow larger and more complex, early humans approach a turning point. A point where movement, memory, and meaning will push them toward new forms of living forms that will forever change how humans spend their days, how they relate to the land, and how they define themselves. Change rarely announces itself. It arrives disguised as necessity. For early humans, this necessity grows slowly, day by day, until one morning feels different from all the ones before it. Not because the sun rises differently, but because staying the same no longer works. Larger groups strain the land. Familiar hunting grounds grow quiet. Herds do not return as often. Plants take longer to grow back. People notice this not through numbers, but through effort. They walk farther. They return emptier. They feel tired sooner. Hunger lingers longer in the belly. Daily life becomes heavier. Morning conversations are more serious now. Not spoken aloud, but carried in looks and pauses. People scan the horizon longer before deciding where to go. Debates stretch. Old paths are questioned. New ones are considered. Movement becomes a major topic of thought. Some argue to stay and adapt. Others argue to leave before the land fully fails. Both choices are risky. Staying means scarcity. Leaving means the unknown. The group weighs memory against fear. Experience against hope. These discussions shape the day. Work slows. Attention drifts. Everyone feels the tension, even children. The camp feels restless, like an animal sensing a coming storm. When the decision comes, it is not dramatic. No speech, no declaration, just action. Tools are gathered. Shelters are stripped down. Useful materials are packed. Fire is prepared to travel. The camp begins to dissolve. This process takes days. Packing is emotional. Objects carry history now. A tool made years ago. A stone carried across many seasons. A shelter that protected births and deaths. Leaving feels like loss, but survival does not care about sentiment. The journey reshapes daily life completely. Walking replaces routine. Each day is unpredictable. Camps are temporary. Fires are smaller. Nights are tense. Everyone sleeps lighter. Scouting becomes constant. The land is read carefully. Every sign is studied. Water is precious. Food is uncertain. Mistakes are less forgiving. Children are quieter during these times. They feel the anxiety without understanding it fully. Adults are sharper, shorter, more focused. Energy is conserved. Arguments are postponed. Survival takes priority. As the group moves, they encounter new environments. Open plains, dense forests, harsh cold, blinding heat. Each environment demands adjustment. Clothing changes. Shelter design changes. Hunting strategies change. Daily tasks must be reinvented again and again. This constant adaptation sharpens the mind. People learn faster. Patterns are recognized quickly. Flexibility becomes a skill as valuable as strength. Eventually, the group finds a place that feels right. Not perfect, but workable. Water is nearby. Animals pass through. Shelter is possible. The land feels alive, not exhausted. They stop. Stopping is cautious at first. Temporary shelters, small fires, constant watching. Trust in the land is rebuilt slowly. As days pass without disaster, confidence returns. Work resumes. Shelters strengthen. Paths form. The camp takes shape. But something is different now. This group carries more knowledge than before, more experience, more memory of movement and loss. They do not settle blindly. They observe carefully. They limit use. They plan exits. Daily life becomes more intentional. People rotate hunting areas. They rest land when possible. They diversify food sources. This is not strategy written down, but instinct refined by hardship. This marks a quiet shift toward sustainability. Time is thought of differently now. Not just today and tomorrow, but next cold season, next dry season, next generation. Children are taught more deliberately. Warnings are repeated. Stories emphasize consequences. Lessons are no longer just about danger, but about balance. Respect for the land deepens, not spiritual in a formal sense, but practical. The land feeds you only if you allow it to recover. This awareness changes daily behavior. Less waste, more sharing, more restraint. Social bonds tighten again. Shared hardship has a way of doing that. People rely on each other more deeply. Trust grows stronger because it has been tested. At night, stories change tone. Less about monsters, more about journeys, about places left behind, about lessons learned the hard way. Memory becomes a guide. As stability slowly returns, creativity resurfaces. People experiment again. New tools are designed specifically for this land. new shelters adapted to this climate, new routines shaped by experience. Daily life feels richer, but also heavier. Knowledge carries responsibility. Ignorance is no longer an excuse. Early humans are no longer just surviving within nature. They are negotiating with it. This negotiation marks a major turning point, because once humans begin to think this way, their relationship with the world is forever altered. The land is no longer infinite. Choices matter. Consequences echo. As stability returns, something unexpected happens. The days begin to feel longer, not because there is more daylight, but because there is more space inside them. Survival no longer fills every moment with urgency. There are pauses now, gaps between tasks, moments where hands rest, but minds stay awake. These moments change everything. Early humans begin to notice time itself, not just morning and night, but the stretch in between, the slow crawl of the sun, the waiting, the repetition. A sense of again settles into life. Again we wake. Again we gather. Again we hunt. Again we eat. Again we sleep. Repetition brings comfort, but also questions. People start to think about why things are done a certain way, why one person always hunts and another always stays, why certain paths are taken even when others exist. These thoughts are quiet, but powerful. They open the door to choice. Daily work becomes more refined. Movements are smoother. Waste is reduced. Energy is saved. Tasks that once took hours now take less time. Skill sharpens efficiency. Efficiency creates surplus. Not always food, but time. And time is the most dangerous surplus of all. With time comes reflection. People sit longer by the fire after meals. They stare into the flames. They trace patterns in the dirt. They carve lines into bone or stone without practical reason. Their hands move while their minds wander. This is where symbolism grows stronger. Marks begin to mean things, not just ownership, but memory. A line for a journey, a shape for an animal, a pattern for a story. These marks are shown to others, explained, repeated. Daily life now includes remembering together. Stories become more structured. They gain beginnings and endings. Characters appear, heroes, fools, ancestors. Lessons are wrapped in narrative. Children listen wide-eyed. Adults listen too, because stories help organize the past. Through stories, time stretches backward. People begin to feel connected to those who lived before them, to parents now gone, to elders remembered only in voice. The dead do not disappear anymore. They live in stories, gestures, traditions. This changes how people behave. Actions are no longer just about survival, but about legacy. Being remembered well matters. Teaching correctly matters. Passing knowledge accurately matters. Daily behavior becomes more careful. Shame appears. Pride appears. reputation matters. Someone who is selfish is talked about. Someone who is brave is remembered. These opinions shape behavior even when no one is watching. As social pressure grows, cooperation deepens. Work is shared more evenly. Helping becomes expected. Refusing to help becomes noticeable. Life becomes more moral, even without words for morality. Time also brings awareness of the future, not just seasons, but lives. Children are seen as the future of the group. Their survival becomes central. Extra effort is made to protect them, to teach them, to guide them away from danger. Daily routines adjust around this priority. Camps are made safer. Dangerous tools are kept away. Stories emphasize caution. This focus strengthens continuity. As generations overlap, knowledge accumulates. New ideas do not replace old ones immediately. They stack. Layers of understanding build. Some ideas contradict. Some are refined. Some are forgotten. The human mind becomes a place where time lives. Work also gains meaning beyond necessity. Making a tool well feels good. Teaching feels rewarding. Helping feels right. These emotions encourage behavior that benefits the group. Daily life now includes satisfaction, not just relief. Even hardship is viewed differently. A failed hunt is discussed, not just endured. Lessons are drawn. Improvements planned. This reflective approach increases resilience. At the same time, complexity creates fragility. More rules mean more chances to break them. More expectations mean more disappointment. Emotional pain becomes sharper. Loss feels heavier now because there is more to lose. Grief deepens. Mourning lasts longer. Absence is felt in routines. Someone's place by the fire remains empty. Their tools are handled carefully. Their name is spoken softly. These moments slow the day. Work pauses. The group breathes together. Out of this shared pain, bonds strengthen again. As nights pass, the firelight reveals faces marked not just by survival, but by experience. Lines appear. Expressions carry depth. Laughter carries memory. Silence carries meaning. Early humans are no longer simply reacting to the world. They are interpreting it, shaping it mentally as much as physically. Daily life now balances action and thought. And this balance sets the stage for the most profound shift yet. Because once humans learn to live not just in the present, but across time past, present, and future, they are ready to change how they define work, purpose, and place in the world. That change is close now. It hums beneath the routines. It waits in the quiet moments between tasks.